of Ruth and Alan Stern, conducted in their home at 33 Pinecrest Parkway, Hastings-on-Hudson, February 16, 1992, by Richard S. Barrett. They have been told the nature and purpose of the interview, so I will turn it over to them. Well, I think we had some friends here, first of all. We had some friends here, we had some friends in Westport, and we had some friends who had just moved up to Roslyn, Long Island. We, at the time, were living in Fresh Meadows, and our second child was on the way, and they seemed threatened with whatever they call that, split sessions, half sessions in the school. So Ruth was particularly eager to, first of all, get out of there and get into a house, and I had no experience with houses, having grown up in apartments. But this Ben and Gladhill Zapolsky were our friends from here. And after having looked everywhere else for approximately 2 years, we decided Hastings was the place. Primarily because we heard that the schools were good. Anything else? It was also within a good half hour's distance of New York.
I believe that was why we discounted Westport. We found a couple of houses we liked in Westport, but we drove back on a Sunday afternoon and hit the traffic. And Alan at the time was freelancing, and he realized his hours in his commuting would be bothered by that traffic.
Impossible. So this had the commuting advantage and the school advantage.
And we had friends.
And we had friends here. Continue.
How did you come to this particular area of Hastings?
Here?
Yeah.
Let's see, Marion Nelson was our real estate agent. And she showed us a lot of houses. And in our price range, they were all a little bit smaller than we had hoped. And
I saw this
we
ad
saw an ad in the paper.
in
the Times, for this house, which was alleged to have been a converted cider mill, going back, and we've been trying to trace this to about the early 1800s.
The story we were told that this was part of the Raleigh estate and had been the cider mill for the apple orchard.
And the manor house was the one down the hill where the Bullens now live. The Dr. Schweich and Jacqueline Schweich were there at the time. That was supposed to be the house, the main house, and this was supposed to be one of the outbuildings. We had looked for any sign that there was a tunnel going from the basement here down to the river.
That was one of the romantic tales.
Yes.
They told us that they would roll the kegs through this tunnel down to a wharf on the river. But we have never seen any sign of this. But of course, the basement has been paved, and we did not dig it up.
We were told that the house next door to ours was used the other direction. The worm runners were bringing rum in over the railroad tracks and up into the house. No one's ever found any evidence of that.
That's right.
We're still looking for it, too. Let's see.
I did find a map.
Yes.
I think it's the 1888 map that has a mark that is in the same shape as this house, with just the Raleigh house.
Yeah, and in the same location. And also, one of the people we really think you should talk to is Muriel Anastasia, who grew up here. Her maiden name was Leonard, and she's been here since the beginning.
She's a woman about our age, and she grew up and she knows about the early Pinecrest.
Right, and she had it wasn't a map, it was a photograph of this area blocked out in lots, dated 1912, and I think this was the only house on the street at the time. The rest of them were being sold off as lots. She probably has a better copy of that than ours, which would be interesting material.
Okay. Now, tell me about your reactions when you first arrived. How did people greet you? How did you get to be part of the community?
We were in, and the neighbors arrived with bouquets of flowers.
We were invited to a party within, I think, a couple of weeks. Hope Noyes, Charles Noyes, I'm sure you remember. They were Ray and Florence Levy gave the party, and the Noises were there.
The Patricks were there.
Patricks, Dr. Patrick and Tony Patrick. And I particularly, one of the things that sticks in our mind was the big issue at the time was the building of the A&P at the corner, and all of the liberals in the group, and the whole group was a bunch of Democrats, I think, except for Tommy Patrick, were dead set against this. It was going to create traffic problems and everything else. So this was our first real introduction to the suburbs, and the feeling that we like it the way it is, we don't want it to change. We have joined the crowd. Let's see. No, everybody was most friendly. Across the street from us lived Jack and Joan Steinberger, and he won the Nobel in physics last year. And everybody who remembered him was just as proud as could be.
Jack and Joan also gave another party for us, and we met people from other sections of the town.
One of the reasons why this area was selected for the second series of interviews is the unique interracial character of the place. Would you want to comment about that?
Well, this, we were, again, this is a story that we probably won't want to print, but we will not name the name. No, we will not name the name of the agent. And it was not Marion Nelson, who was our regular agent, but another real estate agent. After we'd seen the ad, we asked her about it, and she said, you wouldn't want to live there. And we found out why she said that, and we had no problem about this at all. In fact, this looked like the best house that we had seen in all of our house hunting, and we bought it. Now, again, people who would know about this, I don't know if you have the names. The Grays and the Chances were the first black family to move in. They are related.
Pinecrest Drive.
That's on Pinecrest Drive. It's the first house here we
Okay, fine.
They were the first family, the first black family to move here. They have a great story about this. We also knew almost immediately Jesse and Alger Adams, who came, I guess this was at least 5 or 6 years before we arrived, and they have some good stories to tell too. Lois Bourne, who at that time was Mrs. Black, lived in the corner house, the Ziegfeld choreographer's house at the corner of the big stone wall. And she had been here for quite some time too. She now lives down at that end of the street, and her name is Bourne. She's on the list.
Her husband died shortly
Yes,
after
yeah.
we moved here.
He died, we came here in July of '55, and he died, I think it was about November of the same year.
I think one of the most interesting things about this area is the fact that the houses change back and forth,
Yes.
which people who have studied this say is most unusual. Many of the houses that were owned by whites sold to blacks, back to whites, which is
How do you account for this?
I don't know, but it's a very good, happy sign. For example, the Armours live down the hill. As you go down the hill toward Wilbur, and you go around the bend, there's that house right on the corner. That was owned when we moved here by White. There was a white couple up there. They sold to a black couple, Dr. Stewart and his wife,
Marie and Phil Stewart.
Marie and Phil Stewart, and the Stewarts sold it to the Armours, who were white. So you have white, black, white, and
Well, the
during
same
this
thing
period
had
of time.
happened where the assessors lived. Dr. Patrick lived, and he was black. He was married to a white lady. Tony was white.
And
It happened with the Wyatt house, too.
that's right. Yes.
Donald and Mary were both black, and they sold the house when they moved to Florida and retired to a white couple.
Now you may find some interesting material on this by Robert K. Merton, who did
He wrote a
He
paper
wrote
on
a
this.
paper on the integration of Pinecrest many years ago. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
I haven't seen the paper, but I know that he'd been interviewed by one of the people from the Historical Society.
Oh.
So I'm sure that information is already in the file
Good.
somewhere.
I think one of the reasons may be that when people move here, they realize it's an integrated community.
They know that when they come in.
When they come in. And I think it is a very close group of people. We've known each other for a long time and are there for each other.
Well, tell me about after you arrived and your kids began to go to school. How did you get involved with the community? And how did school go for them?
Well, the first school I went to, Kathy was enrolled at the age of 3 at the first, I think it was the first cooperative nursery school, which was down at the Wars building. And I met many people there that I'm still friendly with. I'm trying to remember her name. Erin, I think, was the one, at least that's where I went for the interview to put Kathy in school. But, I mean, after all, once you've cleaned the child's bathroom with a person, you're very close.
Yeah. And when was this?
That was 1955, 56. Then when they were in high school, I mean in elementary school when they were there, I went over with Edna Haas, asked me if I would help with the library there. So I worked at the school library until they went off to high school. So I was over there many years as a volunteer doing, we staffed the desk at the library with volunteers.
What are your comments about the quality of education and social life for your kids when they were here in Hastings?
My own feeling is that it was very good. School was good. It made, especially on our son, he took his English class with Chuck Ashman, and he worked hard and he learned a great deal.
Well, Kathy had the honors class too, but
That's
she didn't
right, but
have Chuck.
she had.
And I think Chuck was outstanding.
Yes, he was much more of a demanding teacher than anybody else around.
But it seemed to prepare them. Eric had no trouble being accepted at Dartmouth. And he went on to law school and did very well.
How many children did you have altogether?
Just two.
The two.
And Kathy,
Eric was born in 55.
he was
Shortly
born the
after
year we
moved
moved here. We were expecting him.
So, did you work in the city, Alan?
I worked in, I had been freelancing until Eric was born, and then I figured that 2 children in the house and trying to get writing done was really impossible. The phone rang one day, and somebody down at NBC, and I said yes.
Yeah.
So I worked at NBC for about four years or so until Eric went to kindergarten, and then I came back and freelanced.
So you were a commuter part of the time, but not.
No, but the commuting was constant.
Oh, I see.
Because you had a script and you had to bring it in, and if it was film, you had to use the moviola and go over the script and the film and everything else. So I was in the city a good deal.
But you did your actual work at home. He
Oh,
went
yes,
into the city first.
But that was, again, one of the things that has not changed, in spite of everybody's complaints based on what this train is marvelous. I don't think I've ever been on it when it was more than 10 minutes late in either direction. It's
I was so
completely
unfortunate because I
dependent.
never had to stand on that train either.
No, it's really, it was a marvelous thing. And I remember, I think it was Bill Vickery's idea a long time ago, and I think he's now beginning to be recognized for it, that they have a flexible commuting rate on the toll bridges. At rush hour, they put in very high tolls, rush hour morning, rush hour evening, and then they will lower them in the off-peak, which would suggest to people that they leave their cars home and take this wonderful public transportation.
It's certainly very handy. 45 minutes to New York during
That's right,
the
yes.
rush hour periods. Can you tell me about your recreation in Hastings?
Well, I didn't use the recreation much myself, but our children did.
Yes.
When our children were very young, we had a small boat in our port and we were over on the Sound and we used to go there. We joined Hilltop Swimming Pool, which is in North Yonkers, off the Ravensdale, I suppose, but it becomes Jackson Ave. And we would swim there. But
We
aside
still do.
from that, we still do as well. But aside from that, I don't think we, the aqueduct, we walked the aqueduct over and over
Practically,
again.
I practically every morning, I go down to the village, walk to the village, come back, go down there, get the paper, and come home.
We're not tennis players. I played tennis when we were young, but I haven't played tennis.
Have you ever explored the aqueduct to any distance from here? Or?
We've gone south to
yeah,
Yonkers.
we've gone to south,
Yeah,
yes, to
not
the south.
to the beginning, but way into
Yes.
Yonkers till it breaks up.
How far can you go into Yonkers on the aqueduct?
Well, we've been down, there's a large building on the left as you're going south, with barred windows. I have no idea what it is, but it looks as if it's been there for a long time. We've gone that far at least.
Have you gone past Hudson River Museum?
No, we haven't gone that far.
And going, I have not gone any further than the docks going on.
Another thing that certainly to be mentioned here is the library and the people who run this. Even before, when it was still in the municipal building, that little crowded one room, and then moving into this large one, it's been a great, wonderful.
Could you give us some picture of your community activities?
Let's see. Fair Housing Committee, early on. Not terribly active. But you've been volunteering at the library.
I volunteered at the school library for many years, 10, 11 years. And then when my children no longer wanted me at the school, I went to the public library and volunteered over there for many years. And I'm still volunteering there. And I worked at Echo Hills.
What is Echo Hills?
Echo Hills is a community counseling service. And, it's also has a walk-in. It's open where people can go for 1 or 2 sessions to discuss their problems without charge. But it helps many people with everything from true problems with children and so forth to the fact that they housing and where to look and where to go.
I remember that Shirley was working with you on
That's
reading
right.
projects.
I was about to mention that Shirley would be very familiar with the literacy program, and I'm still active in that.
Could you tell us about it, so for the record here?
Well, one day, this was, I guess, back in about 1978, Ruth Leslie called, and from the...
Ruth Leslie was the librarian.
was the library director. Well, probably.
Yes, okay.
And asked if I would be interested in helping to form a literacy volunteers chapter in the river towns. I think it was then to include Hastings, Dobbs Ferry, and possibly Irvington. I don't think the Irvington thing ever... Ardsley. Hastings, Dobbs Ferry, and Ardsley. And I said, sure. And we met up at the Dobbs Ferry Library with the directors of the libraries and decided that an English as a second language program would be more appropriate to this area than a straight literacy program. Well, I very soon got involved. Ruth and I were practically taken by the nape of the neck and told we were going to give the next training workshop.
That's Ruth Leslie.
Ruth Leslie. So under some protest and with some great anxiety, we put this together. From there on, I was doing these training workshops for many years and tutoring. The activity I enjoyed and still do enjoy the most. And I now have 3 students, and we meet at the library on different days for about 3 hours a shot. And I enjoy it tremendously.
How many people are involved in that program?
Now the numbers vary, but I think it's in the hundreds. They some few years ago, they reorganized and centralized. So they have a central office, which is now is that Ardsley? That
Is it that long?
no, it was in Valhalla. It was in cooperation with the Westchester Community College at first, and I think they're still heavily involved in it. There's a central office, and the central office now controls the scheduling and so forth. It used to be more decentralized in the various chapters. The Hastings, the Rye, and so forth would be much more independent. That has changed. I'm sure Shirley is up on this.
Well, she's actually dropped out of it now, but she did teach some Japanese women.
That was another fascinating thing. The first flood of students consisted of primarily Japanese. And then as things heated up in Central America, people were coming in from El Salvador, and I one from Nicaragua, and another one from Iran. So you sort of felt the pulse of the world, just through the people you were called upon to help learn English.
She was fascinated by talking to these Japanese women and hearing their reactions to this country, and their reactions about going back to Japan, which was sometimes the negative. They got used to the more equal treatment that women get here and did not want to go back.
One of Alan's students was a Japanese woman who happened to be a neighbor, and we became very friendly.
She lived down the street here.
And she made the remark that she has gone back to Japan, but he still comes over, and I think someday they may come back.
They want to.
But she made the remark to me that Japan was heaven for them and America was heaven for women.
Well, some topics that we have on our list that we haven't quite touched on yet. I wonder if we could comment on some of. One of them is simply the services in the town, the food stores, medical and dental services, repairs, eateries, and so forth.
Well, shopping, I prefer the Grand Union to our local A&P. So we shop mostly at the little shop.
Yes, you still
Used
call
to
it
be
Alice
Alice
Market.
remember?
Lenny's.
Lenny's.
Hastings Prime.
Or we go to the Grand Union, so we go outside of Hastings for that. We are committed to our dentist. We went to him before we even moved here, and we are still going to him. He was a friend before he became our dentist, so he's in the city.
The city.
My doctor is in Irvington,
Mine is in West.
and Alan's is in White Plains, so we do not use that.
No, hardwares and things like that, or local. Unless you
Of course, the hairdresser.
Yeah, I don't use that.
You get your hair cut by Carl?
There used to be a barber down at on Spring Street. But during the 60s, these poor guys didn't have any business at all because everybody had hair down to his and her waist. There's now the new one on Main. Lady Barber.
I find I do shopping in town for household things. The hardware store and the bagel shop is one.
Do you have any comment about local politics?
We've encountered this just the other evening. A dispute between two of our friends over this accessory apartment business and the new Hastings party and so forth. And we really are not very good citizens because we have a definite opinion on the accessory apartment idea, but other people feel just as strongly otherwise. The waterfront, we never would have imagined that it would have taken this long to get anything done.
Do you remember what year Anaconda closed?
No, I don't know. It was after we arrived.
75.
We arrived about 22 years ago.
I think Fran McEachran's letter in the current issue of the newspaper said it was 75. But it would
It was
you have to
even
verify.
earlier.
But it's been.
It seems to me, since that day, we have been discussing the waterfront. I'm sure at this point I don't know the answers to it. I wish they would do something about the Berkshire.
Yes.
And it's my feeling, I read Chuck Woodard's letter in the paper this week, and it's my feeling that the Berkshire, if we do need housing, would be a good place to put housing.
You ever go for walks in Hillside Woods?
Not recently.
No, but I am in favor of keeping Hillside.
Yes.
Very much so.
We have seen, and I keep trying to remember, with the increase in traffic and the increase in automobile density, if not actual population density, all of the places that used to be free-flowing are now, you've got one traffic light or two traffic lights, stop signs, and then you go down and you try to park in the village, and you wait for somebody to leave. And I really, with the diminution of population, I just don't understand what's happening.
I think many people are shopping in Hastings who do not work.
I think also the population decline is to a large extent among children who have grown up and gone away, and the parents like us are still around, and we're still driving kids or someplace else.
Well, somewhere I read that it is getting to be a much older town, and I know this is true. Many of our friends are still here with their children.
One of the things we're interested in when it comes to historical project is the changes you've observed. Now, I know you indicate other people have been here longer, but you've been here for quite a while.
Yeah.
So could you talk about some of the changes, physical, political, social, anything that would give us some insight as to how the village has been evolving?
Well, the traffic is one very noticeable change, and the traffic controls. I can't offhand. I think that since our children graduated, that there's been, again, this is all hearsay, second and third hand stuff, that the education is either not quite as good as it used to be, or maybe not as good.
I think that depends on the people you're talking with.
Yes.
It seems to me when I talk to the younger mothers, they seem pleased with the education. It's the older people that seem to feel it's not as good.
Well,
Which
old
is
people
an
always
interesting
feel
thing.
that things are not.
You're never going to used to be. That's never work.
But the younger people seem to think they're going to solve these problems. The older people. I find the city is the village, the city, the village. It's there's an apartment building built here, apartment building built there. The thing that when we first moved here, I never had to look for a parking spot in the village, and I'm sure that was true. And now, particularly on weekends, it's unbelievably crowded. I noticed too, I can run around. When we moved here, there was no traffic light at Broadway and Warburg. The project that was built between High Street and Tompkins Avenue wasn't here when we moved here. That was all built in Fraser Estates.
Yes.
The apartment buildings next to the library, and of course the library itself wasn't there when we moved here.
Well, here, I think especially noticeable, and not entirely to our delight, these four houses neighboring us, this was all woods. And for 30 years or so, we've had the advantage of the woods without owning the land. And all of a sudden now there are four houses where all of these trees used to be. And interestingly, there are two more houses going up on the drive, and there are two houses going up at the end of the street. So this area is just filling up. I don't know. Three of these houses are now occupied. It took a good couple of years to sell that one that was just recently.
Well, I think that was a matter of the time.
Yeah,
Because
well,
everyone's having trouble selling.
but I mean, down at the end of the street, I think either one or two new houses are going up. So this is getting to be a very popular area, probably because of the river.
Also the apartments there on Broadway, on the one-way section, they call it the new apartment building, the pull-ups. Hastings Land.
Oh yes, that's all new too. So it's closing in.
The apartments across from the Lincoln lesson.
I think that could be an impression, a serious one, the feeling that there was, I think in all of our cases, at a certain age, you begin to realize that there are a lot more people around than there used to be, and they are closing in, and if you are of a high I suppose you just pick up and move to Kentucky.
Well, I could repeat again that the thing that distresses me most really is the breakfast day. Because when we first moved here, I can remember the children used to sleigh ride there, and this was kept in good shape. That was before the center started, Hastings Center, which was there. And the children were safe to walk through that to go to or from school. I was there the last time about 2 years ago. It was cluttered with broken glass. It was impossible to walk in. You had signs of drinking, carousing, all sorts of things going on that made it not desirable. And it's just sitting. The school owns it, I think. I wish something would be done.
Well, one of the major reasons why this area was chosen was, as I mentioned earlier, back to this interracial history. Do you have any more comments about that that would be of interest to some historian or sociologist later on who might be listening to these tapes?
Well, I think one of the old stereotypes is that once an area becomes integrated, it very soon thereafter turns all one color. And as we mentioned earlier, this has not happened here. I think there are about the same number of black families here, or possibly even fewer than there were when we moved in 1955. As we noted, some of the houses go from white to black and back again. There's really been no problem.
I think they're few because many of the children moved. Cleveland Park is not doing
That's right. No, there's another example. Cleveland Clark, black family, lived in the house now occupied by the Blue States. So they bought from a black family. It's a white family, and but if and when they decide to move out, it's a 50-50 shot.
I wish someone could follow whatever it is that happened because, as I say, there really is a great deal of respect and caring in this community. And some people call it incestuous because we're so devoted to each other. So,
Is there much social interaction between people of different races?
yes.
Oh, yes. I mean, Alger Adams has now been quite ill a long time. And we still, we're in touch with his wife, Jessie.
I speak with Jessie every day.
And, but I mean,
Spent
before
half
that,
an hour with Lois yesterday.
we and the Adamses and the Patricks and the Noises, white and black together.
And the
We were,
person.
and the persons were kind of a local social group.
And we would see each other socially.
Yeah, constantly.
Well, and still do.
Yeah. Now, Judy Gray, now Nelson, is of the same age as Patty Adams. But she is a jazz enthusiast, as we are. But we really do not know the families down in that building. But they were the first to break through the color barrier. And I really think they'll have tremendous stories to tell.
Are they on my list here?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
I mean, I gave you that little piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay. There's the Gray, Chance, and Nelson.
They're all related.
They're all related.
I see.
And it's
all
an
the same
extended
family.
family that lives in that house. That house is fascinating. It was once
I believe it was the German embassy.
the German embassy, I
And
believe.
there's a big
because
iron cross down there.
entryway, there's a house there,
Interesting
and a
touch.
big fountain that has goldfish in it, or usually has
That's a
goldfish in it. It's a fascinating house.
Well, that's about all that I have for the interview, unless you have anything that you think that historians would be interested in that we haven't touched on
When we
yet.
moved here too, I don't know how long he'd been here, but Ken Clark was here.
That's right.
Yes.
He's in the same house.
I think his daughters grew up here and she lives over in High Street still, doesn't she?
But I think Muriel Anastasia,
Yeah, Muriel's the one that was a child
she's,
here.
yeah, this is 60-some years in Hastings.
Well, she was away for a long time.
Yeah.
What happened, she grew up married, left, and then Dr. Leonard was ill, so she came back. Her husband moved back in, her children were grown, and she took care of them during his last.
Now, this was there's no place on the tape. This Dr. Leonard had been a
You were on the
principal.
tape?
No, it's all right. And every time a child came to his house, he had some candy for the children. And I used to walk with him to the village now and then.
He went to church every morning.
And he went to church. He went down there to go to the church every morning. And he could remember and he could describe what 42nd Street looked like before they built the marvelous. Talk about history.
My mother-in-law remembers the tally hose coming up Broadway, or remembered before she died. She went from the tally hose up Broadway to the Man on the Moon.
One of the things I remember very well is that when we first moved here, and for many years afterwards, it seemed that everyone called me to collect for the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Red Cross meetings,
You were
just
soft
what have
touch.
you. I was the one. And I did this because it was something I could do with the children. We would walk and collect, and I really didn't mind doing it at all. But one day I saw the curtain moved aside, and they looked and saw who it was, and they closed the curtain. They did not answer the door. And I said, I've done this too long. So I didn't. But among the people I would go collect from was Dr. Leonard, and he always invited me in and put me in a favorite chair for me, and would go get a glass of sherry, and we would sit and drink a glass of sherry and discuss everything that had happened.
And Muriel is his daughter. And among other things, she may have that advertisement for the lots that they were selling.
Oh, yeah?
Well, apparently a developer bought the estate, at least the Rowley estate, and I don't know if another estate was involved or not. I think so, because I think it went over to Grand Street. And had divided it all into plots they were trying to sell. That's probably in the New York Times.
Yeah.
Breathe the fresh air of the country.
Yes. We call it Hastings-on-Hudson.
Yes,
Right. He's right. Very suburban. Anyway, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
We will